Hi, welcome to Prime Recap. You are a powerful stand user, but you must face silent enemies that hunt you everywhere. Today we will recap the live action of Jojo's bizarre adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable. On a certain night, a team of policemen is surrounding an apartment, where a serial killer named Angelo is quietly having dinner while taking a family hostage. When the police chief hears a noise coming from inside, he breaks down the door, but the killer had already escaped and killed one of the victims with a fork in the throat. Running away from numerous police officers, the criminal comes across a mysterious man in his way, who shoots an arrow into his neck, ending his life there. But the archer recites a kind of ritual and congratulates him for being the chosen one. The assassin is resurrected and all the water around him begins to move by itself. The cops manage to arrest him and begin the interrogation. Angelo watches the rain outside. The room begins to drip through the ceiling and fill with water. Angelo uses his powers and manages to escape, watched by a strange water creature that he has summoned from within the victim, as if he already knows what he is doing. The next day a high school student named Koichi is getting ready for another day of school. He sees on the news the recent violent crimes in his town and becomes apprehensive. On the way, he is barred by some demented students, who threaten him by saying they want his money. But a man named Josuke passes by and bumps into one of the idiots. Then the bully makes fun of the man, saying that his hair is a big joke. Josuke was so enraged that he unleashed his aura of power, and finished off the bullies with just one punch. The offenders are badly injured, but strangely their bodies return to normal as soon as the boy moves away from the scene. Josuke still fixes Koichi's bicycle, leaving him not understanding how it happened. In a city park, Angelo still continues his outbursts and surprise attacks. He uses the water creature to possess one boy, taking over his actions and killing the other in front of him. Later we find out that the boy who survived has also been possessed and is acting in a bizarre way in a convenience store. And he threatens the attendant with a knife. On the way home, Josuke finds the boy possessed, holding the attendant hostage. The man then insults him, again making fun of his bizarre hair. Even Koichi doesn't believe this. The assailant attacks the girl with the knife, but Josuke transfers the blow to the criminal, reversing the attack, opening a hole in the man's back. Again, the wounds are gone and nothing has happened to the girl. And the knife appears inside the man. But it begins to twist and falls to the ground, releasing the creature from the water, which escapes into the sewers. Angelo was standing right there watching and now he will make Josuke his next target. After all, he got in the way of his whole plan. Late at night, the mysterious archer appears again and shoots an arrow at a random man. But this time, the victim has not resurrected, and the man just takes his arrow and leaves. The next day, Koichi is riding his bike at full speed and bumps into someone. He was about to smash into the street, but a power freezes time and sets him on his feet. It was Jotaro, who apologizes and asks Koichi to take him to Josuke. Koichi introduces the new acquaintance to his schoolmate. Surprisingly, Jotaro says he is Josuke's nephew and knows a lot of information about his family. Jotaro asks the boy if he has been seeing strange things. But Josuke apologizes that he has no interest in any of it and leaves. The girls come running in talking about the boy's hair and Jotaro says to leave the stupid stuff for later. You mentioned the hair, the fight will start. Josuke turns in anger to attack. But Jotaro hits him with a supreme punch with his stand. He then explains that he is also a stand's user. Only, Josuke doesn't care about this and goes after him. Jotaro freezes time, and he comes up behind the boy, finishing the fight with another punch to the face. Josuke finally speaks up that the day before he saw a strange creature coming out of an out-of-control man, but he doesn't want to get involved and just leaves. Angelo is following the mysterious man who has turned him into a monster. The two sit down to talk over dinner. He demonstrates his power by controlling the water on the table and says he will eliminate the high school student who got in his way, and the archer says he doesn't care. Josuke is having dinner with his mother Tomoko, and his grandfather who is a policeman, Mr. Higashikata. Grandpa talks about how happy he is to be by their side every day at dinner, and is sure that he will soon solve the city's violence. The next day, Jotaro has been analyzing the recent crimes and realizes that Angelo is always eliminating his victims near water, as if they kill people from the inside out. This indicates that in fact his stand uses water as energy. The weather is changing outside, and if rain is going to fall, that is worrisome. Shortly thereafter, Angelo arrives at Josuke's house. The rain begins to fall. The water from the fountain rises in the air, and he orders his stand to totally eliminate Josuke's family. Inside the house, Josuke notices that there was something sinister inside his mother's mouth as soon as she drank a glass of water. He immediately uses his stand to collect the creature from inside his mother, without her suffering any harm. He shakes the bottle and can see the creature inside. Josuke calls Jotaro and tells him that he has managed to trap the water stand. But Jotaro warns him to keep an eye on the thing until he arrives. Interestingly, Josuke shakes the bottle so much that Angelo is also attacked by the vibrations of the stand. The problem is that the genie decides to go to the bathroom and leaves an enemy stand alone in the room. His grandfather is in the kitchen looking for a drink, but can't find it. Seeing this, the stand turns into a bottle of liquor, and so Mr. Higashikata takes the bottle with him. When Josuke returns and continues playing his Super Nintendo, he hears a loud noise coming from his grandfather's room. He rushes there, but unfortunately his grandfather was already about to die from the stand's attack. But Josuke is not upset at all, because his power of restoration can heal his grandfather quickly, no matter what state he is in. The house is all destroyed and flooded due to the stand's power. Jotaro is also there and realizes that the creature is still present in the place. Suddenly jets of water try to puncture him from all sides. The stand reveals itself, and attacks Josuke, forcing Jotaro to freeze time just in time. Jotaro's stand exchanges quick punches with the creature, throwing him away. Now both of them need to be on alert. The room is filled with water and the attack could come from any direction. The kettle begins to release a dense steam throughout the house. Jotaro tells them not to breathe it, but the steam from the hot bath also begins to spread, surrounding the two of them on all sides. Josuke had an idea: blow up the wall with a punch from his stand and then restore it. He just didn't count on his sweat being his own trap. The room had a humidifier on. The creature had already managed to enter his body. The stand begins to attack Josuke from the inside, but surprisingly, he had expected this maneuver, and manages to trap the stand inside a small rubber glove that he had swallowed to pieces shortly before in the kitchen. Jotaro has blood in his eyes. They go to Angelo and he waves the glove with stand in it to make the bastard feel every blow, flying and crashing several times on the ground. To punish him further, Josuke doesn't arrest or eliminate him, he simply mixes Angelo's molecules with a huge rock from the park, sealing the curse forever. Only there is one very sad detail in all this. Josuke's grandfather does not wake up. The boy doesn't understand why his power didn't work and is distraught. Jotaro says that he has already passed away before the boy could even regenerate him. The healing stand cannot revive someone, only treat their wounds. Before Tomoko's funeral, Josuke's mother tells a family story. 16 years ago, the old man could not protect a young girl in high school. And since then, he blamed himself, considering himself a failed policeman, who never again tried to get promoted in any position or rank, and his life mission was to protect the city at all costs, regardless of the means. At his grandfather's funeral, Josuke sees the mysterious figure again and decides to follow it. Koichi also ends up going after him out of concern. They arrive at a large abandoned mansion. A man named Okuyasu appears, questioning the intruders, and attacks Koichi. Then we find out that the mysterious boy is Kaicho Nijimura, who manages to shoot an arrow through the boy's chest. Okuyasu releases his stand and will not allow Josuke to heal his friend. And he goes after him. The two exchange a few blows until Josuke finally realizes the ability of Okuyasu's stand, which is to erase a piece of the real world where the blow from his right hand hits. With that, Josuke dodges the following blows, and Okuyasu ends up knocked out on the ground. The problem now is that Koichi has disappeared. Following the trail of blood, Josuke meets again with Kaicho, who states that he did not choose Koichi as a target, he is insignificant. Okuyasu comes back screaming for his brother, who wants to help him in battle, but Kaicho cowardly fires hundreds of projectiles at his own brother, saying that he is weak and useless. Josuke tries to drag the boy's body away and ends up being shot in the hand. He tries to ask for some information that will help him defeat Kaicho, but unfortunately Okuyasu does not provide him with any information. Surprisingly, instead of killing him, he heals all of his enemy's wounds. Okuyasu is at a loss and questions Josuke as to why he would heal someone who is trying to kill him. Josuke then answers that there was no deep reason for him to take his opponent's life. And also, when questioned, he reveals that his wounds cannot be regenerated at all with his stand. Now Josuke goes to his friend Koichi and uses his repair power. Okuyasu just watches and leaves. However, Josuke quickly hides. There is a group of small soldiers parachuting in, which turns out to be Keicho's stand. Josuke must go about blocking the various shots of the mini-army. They start coming in heavy, with helicopters and bazookas, forcing Josuke to use his stand in the middle of the room and shoot back the various missiles and projectiles. Incredibly, Koichi can see the stand clearly. That's when Kaicho arrives with his full artillery, threatening Koichi to reveal his true power. But the boy is terrified and doesn't quite understand what this is. A little soldier then hits a knife on his foot, which causes him to panic and accidentally summons an egg, but he doesn't know what to do with it. Kaicho uses all his strength to attack them. Josuke kicks the egg away to protect it, and his stand sends out a machine gun of blows to repel the bullets fired at them. As a final attack, Kaicho fires several explosive missiles at Josuke, and leaves him increasingly weakened and powerless. The bursts of gunfire are incessant. The stand even tries to stop the missiles. But his defense is exhausted and he ends up falling almost lifeless. Seeing his friend dying to protect him makes Koichi angry, and with that, he activates his power, releasing a green aura, and his egg begins to crack, releasing a small greenish creature. But unfortunately, it can't do anything. Just a few useless little punches. At that moment, Josuke eventually awakens and restores the missiles fired at him. He fires them at Kaicho, eliminating his stand army. Josuke thanks Koichi for giving him enough time to create the missile strategy. They decide to go up the stairs together to find Kaicho. Koichi slowly walks carefully, and as he touches the door, he is grabbed by a creature. Josuke punches the creature and realizes that it is not a stand. Kaicho is lying in the corner of the room and tells them that the monster is his father. The man was punished for being a hateful person who mistreated his children and now lives without even knowing that he is a human. The reason he uses the bow is to get some stand user who has the power to kill this monster. Josuke notices a box in the corner of the room and restores it with stand. He also restores an old photo of Keicho's family. His father picks up the photograph and begins to remember. This is what he has been looking for all this time, a memory of his family. The memories were still there. Josuke offers to heal his father, but Kaicho must first deliver his bow and arrow for him to destroy him. Okuyasu is listening to everything in an emotional way and appears to convince his brother to leave all this hatred behind. But he is still reluctant and doesn't want to accept help in any way. It is then that everyone notices a sinister noise approaching the house. There is a man sneakily using stand, surrounding them using heat vision. A little robot with a red-eyed skull flies in through the window. He lunges at Okuyasu, but Kaicho jumps forward and is brutally hit. As he turns around, the stand is coming out of his mouth, and it explodes, releasing a blue smoke all over the room. The stand escapes out the window and Koichi has disappeared along with his bow. Okuyasu searches desperately for him, but it is in vain. He is gone. At least he knows that his brother gave his life to save him and will not be forgotten. Jotaro meets with Josuke and they talk about the hidden stand user who killed Kaicho. Josuke is sure that one day this curse will cross his path again, and until then he will continue his grandfather's effort, which is to protect the city. Finally, Josuke, Okuyasu and Koichi form a strong alliance, even greeting Angelo's stone on the way to school. And in closing, we hear on the radio that a student from the city is missing. And in her house there is an arm inside a bag and, lo and behold, holding Keicho's arrow. What can this be? So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.